Welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber CRISC Prepcast. This series helps you prepare for the exam with focused explanations and practical context. Reporting risk information is not just a closing task at the end of a risk assessment. It is a core function of risk management, where analysis becomes action and governance decisions are made. Without clear, timely, and tailored reporting, even the most accurate risk data can fail to influence the right conversations. Executives cannot make funding or strategic decisions, risk committees cannot track treatment progress, business units cannot adjust operations or respond to emerging exposure. Reporting is the communication bridge that connects the technical realities of risk with the business imperative to act. CRISC professionals are responsible for ensuring that reporting is not only accurate, but also designed to support decision-making. On the exam, clues like leadership was unaware or risk treatment stalled often indicate gaps in how risk information was communicated. The strongest answers always reflect structured reporting aligned with stakeholder needs and governance cycles. Not every stakeholder needs the same information, and not every message belongs in every report. Executives and board members require concise, strategic risk updates focused on top risks, trends, exceptions, and potential business impacts. Risk committees need treatment tracking, escalation logs, and data on residual risk changes. Business unit leaders need operational risk updates, including relevant KPIs, KRIs, and process issues. Control owners need performance data on the safeguards they manage, including failure points and areas for improvement. CRISC professionals must tailor not just the content, but the language, format, and frequency of reports to match each audience. On the exam, mismatched reporting, such as technical jargon presented to a non-technical board, is a common scenario clue. The best responses reflect targeted communication strategies that consider who is receiving the information and what they are expected to do with it. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Effective risk reports typically include several common components. A risk overview should highlight top risks and any emerging exposures that need immediate attention. The risk register summary should show current status, changes since the last report, and any newly added or retired entries. Visuals like residual risk heat maps and scoring matrices help illustrate shifts in exposure. KRI and KCI performance trends provide early winning context and support treatment tracking. Treatment plan progress should be summarized with attention to completed actions, overdue tasks, and items requiring additional resources or governance intervention. CRISC professionals help ensure that these elements are integrated, accurate, and relevant. On the exam, if a risk report lacks trend data, treatment status, or escalation details, the correct answer will involve improving completeness and aligning with governance expectations. The format of a risk report should be selected based on the audience and the reporting context. Dashboards are excellent for ongoing, near real-time tracking and are often used by operations and control teams. Slide decks and scorecards are more appropriate for quarterly risk committee meetings or executive briefings. Written summaries support audit, compliance, or regulatory submissions. Visual tools such as line charts, radiographs, and heat maps can make risk data more intuitive and engaging. CRISC professionals help determine which tool or format best supports the communication goal. On the exam, if a scenario describes governance misunderstanding a risk report, the root cause may be a format mismatch. The best answer will involve selecting tools that enhance understanding and support the role of the recipient. Escalation and exception reporting are key elements of strategic risk communication. If a risk has breached tolerance thresholds, if treatment plans have failed, or if controls are no longer effective, this must be clearly communicated. CRISC professionals ensure that reports highlight these issues with sufficient detail and with proposed next steps. This includes linking the issue back to the organization's stated risk appetite, showing potential business impacts, and identifying who needs to make the next decision. Without this escalation logic, critical risks may go unnoticed, or decisions may be delayed. On the exam, the phrase "leadership wasn't informed" often indicates a failure in escalation reporting. The correct answer usually involves formalizing exceptions and ensuring they appear in governance reports. The frequency of reporting depends on the type of risk and the role of the audience. Operational teams may need weekly or monthly reports to track control effectiveness, or KCI metrics. Executives and board members typically review risk information quarterly, aligned with performance reviews or strategic planning cycles. Incident-driven reports may be produced in response to emerging threats, audit findings, or regulatory inquiries. Ad hoc reports may be generated for contract obligations, due diligence processes, or compliance audits. CRISC professionals define and maintain a reporting calendar that balances frequency, freshness, and decision-making cadence. On the exam, if reporting is delayed or misaligned with risk changes, the correct answer often involves strengthening scheduling or triggering event-driven updates. Risk reports must align with the organization's governance framework and support informed decisions. This means reports should enable governance bodies to approve, escalate, accept, or redirect risk responses. CRISC professionals ensure traceability from the data presented to the decisions made, linking KRIs and treatment plans to risk register entries and tolerance statements. Reports must also include documentation, who received the report, when and what actions followed. Without traceability, decisions may lack context or fail to meet audit standards. On the exam, governance breakdowns often reflect missing links between data, reporting, and action. The strongest answers tie reporting content to governance authority and trace decisions back to evidence. Accuracy and completeness are non-negotiable. CRISC professionals verify that data sources are reliable, that GRC tools are updated, and that KRIs and KPIs are measured and interpreted correctly. Reports should include context such as why certain metrics matter, what the trends mean, and where limitations exist in the data. For example, if residual risk scoring is based on a control that hasn't been tested recently, this should be disclosed. Reports for non-technical stakeholders must avoid jargon and focus on implications. A board misunderstanding the meaning of a residual risk hitmap can lead to poor funding decisions or risk acceptance that exceeds tolerance. On the exam, if stakeholders are confused or misinformed, the failure often lies in reporting clarity or completeness. The best answers include data validation, plain language, and contextual framing. Effective risk reporting doesn't just inform, it drives action. CRISC professionals use reports to flag areas that need attention, justify budget requests, recommend new treatments, or propose changes in control design. Reports must not only show what is happening, but also why it matters and what should happen next. Historical decisions should be tracked, and the current status of past recommendations should be visible. Reports that connect risk information to business goals, customer impact, or regulatory requirements tend to generate the strongest responses. On the exam, if risk reporting fails to influence decision-making, the answer often involves poor alignment with business priorities or lack of actionable insight. CRISC exam questions about risk reporting frequently ask what's missing, who should receive the data, or how it should be presented. If a report lacks decision triggers, residual risk trends, or overdue treatment items, the answer involves improving completeness. If the wrong stakeholder receives the wrong message, the solution is tailoring the report by role. If a risk wasn't acted on, it's often because governance didn't receive or understand the report. And if asked how to present information to executives, the answer will include clear visuals, plain language, and links to strategic impacts. The best exam answers reflect stakeholder relevance, communication clarity, and integration with risk governance processes. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cyber CRISC Prepcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com.